just keeps going. Jim Gordon first proposed the plan to put as many as 130 turbines in Nantucket Sound more than a decade ago. But since then, a slew of lawsuits slowed things to a crawl, and many thought the final blow came this past January, when Cape Wind missed the deadline to secure certain financing and start construction, and two utilities that agreed to buy 3/4 of the power from the farm terminated their contracts. In the meantime, some other wind developers, including the world's leader, have entered the scene. Jim Gordon, founder and president of Energy Management Inc., and the man behind Cape Wind, joins me to talk with. Jim, it's good to see you again. So Mark Twain emailed me today, and he asked me to ask you this question. Are the reports of Cape Wind's death greatly exaggerated or not?
They are greatly exaggerated.
Really? Even after this January thing, when Eversource and whatever the other one is, National Grid, ended their contracts? Well, what's going on?
Well, we've been working away. We have 2 lawsuits left. We've won 26 lawsuits. Unfortunately, over 14 years, we've had to deal with that litigation from basically one party. And the project is, we expect to have oral arguments before the end of the year, before the Columbia Court of Appeals. And we have one case with the SJC. We've won every single case.
But you don't have your clients, you don't have your buyers. And in January, I read you were quoted as saying, we're going to get them back, we're going to sit down and negotiate. It's now October, they're November, they're not back, right?
Well, what's happening, Jim, is there's an energy bill going through now, which is being worked on, where there is trying to get a diversified portfolio of renewable energy and a carve out for offshore wind. So, and that's why you see a number of these companies here coming in trying to develop offshore wind farms.
Well, speaking of a number of companies, the highest profile one, this Danish company, is called Dong Energy, D-O-N-G, that sort of thing. I mean, as unfair as it may seem for the guy who was there first, and you were by a long shot, haven't they passed you by? I mean, two of the things that I think you struggled with. Larger, more powerful turbines, they've got them. They're further out, so they don't have to deal with what you had to deal with, which is it destroys the landscape from those on the shore. I mean, it's sort of passed you by, has it not, Jim Gordon?
Well, Jim, I'm completely permitted. Cape Wind has already gone through its permitting process. We have a lease. They have to now start a multi-year permitting process going through many federal and state agencies. And I hope they make it because, and I'm glad that they're here because we were a lonely voice in the wilderness for many years extolling the benefits of what offshore wind could do for the Commonwealth.
But how can you be happy? Because you rarely are willing to say this. I assume your frustration level with politicians who talked a great game about wind power and then said, but just not this one in my backyard. I mean, obviously Ted Kennedy was a big supporter of wind power, a big opponent of Cape Wind. If they're bigger, they're farther out, they have deeper pockets in deeper water than you do, how are you going to be able to compete with something like this?
Because I have the optimal site, Jim. My foundations are going to weigh 1/3 of what those foundations are. My cables are going to be 2/3 the length. So yes, they're bigger, but bigger isn't always better. I mean, there are gas turbines that are this size and larger sizes that could get put in. It's not just the size.
But is Eversource and National Grid, they ever coming back or they're gone?
I look.
Do you have any indication from them that assuming you win the rest of your lawsuits, they're willing to sit down and renegotiate those contracts?
I believe, with the renewable energy credits, with the price of energy, with the fact that we're providing a bundled price, I believe that we can provide a competitive price in this new RFP that's coming out.
But you have no indication from them. That's just your projection about your ability to market this thing. What's the future of wind in this? It's been a long, long time. What's the future of wind in this part of the country? I mean, the president brags about the fact wind power has tripled, I think it is, during his 7 years in the presidency. Not here.
Jim, I've been in the energy business now for 40 years. And this year we saw more renewable energy generation installed throughout the United States and the world than conventional fossil fuel generation.
Aren't you working on some of those things?
While we've been working very hard on Cape Wind, our company developed over $1 billion worth of renewable energy generation. We developed the largest biomass plant in the United States in Gainesville, Florida. We developed a sister plant in Nacogdoches County, Texas.
Aren't you doing some solar stuff?
We're doing a lot of solar. We're putting on a 17 megawatt solar farm on a military base in New Jersey.
Okay, so I haven't seen you in a couple of years. If you're
Right.
back a year from now, it's November of 2016. What's the state of Cape Wind? Quickly.
Well, I think we're going to win our remaining 2 lawsuits. We've won the last 26. They've been frivolous and they're delaying tactics. And I think we'll have a fully permitted offshore wind farm. And I think in this environment where people are concerned about climate change and their health, they want renewable energy. That's the shift.
Jim Gordon says it. We
Thank
shall
you.
see. Jim
Thank you,
Gordon,
Jim.
pleasure to see you. Cape
Appreciate
Wind.
it.
Beacon Hill essentially closes for business tomorrow for the rest of the year.